ThekarmicDF.
What is up, guys? It is your girl, the Karmic DF from TikTok, back to you again with another video. This time, this is going to be potentially triggering. But if you are ready to take control of your life, if you are ready to stop making excuses for things that don't serve you anymore, if you are ready to live, not exist, live, then this is the video for you. This is I survived my ego death, dark night of the soul. The universe just kind of took those rose-tinted glasses off, man. They ripped that shit off. But if you stick around to the end of this video, I could tell you how I got through it, what I did. We're going to get real honest and raw. And hopefully this will help you find your way home, back to yourself, so that we can all live lives that we know we deserve. We did not come here to suffer and to be in pain all the time. And we did not come here to tolerate less than we deserve. So if you are looking to change your life, if you are looking to be happy, passionate, inspired, if you are looking to just say no more, I deserve better than this, then this is the video for you. And as always, let's get into it. So I was humbled by the universe because I was still kind of making excuses for people, but not to the extent that I was before. So if you're spiritual, that's probably why you're on my page, because otherwise kind of wouldn't make sense. But hopefully, maybe you're just open to it too. That'd be great. But I had to learn that even though I thought that I was in control of things in terms of like what I allowed, what I didn't allow, and such, what I realized was that, spirit coming through instantly. I just heard the song Taylor Swift, It's Me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. And that is the truth, and that's what we're going to have to dive into. This is going to be painful, I'm telling you right now. 4:44, oh my goodness. But anyway, so I had learned that prior to this nightmare of an ego death, that I could handle my own, like when someone was disrespectful, I'd be like, nope, you're gone, bye, and that was more so relationships, so like boyfriends, situationships, like I'll be damned if I ever get myself into a situationship again. But that came with a lot of self-care and a lot of self-worth. But here's the thing, we have to learn these lessons in layers, because when I was going through this one in particular, it was honestly a little terrifying because, I grew up in, and this is no disrespect, this is just what it was. I didn't grow up in the healthiest of environments. I had very, very young parents. And so I took on the role of the parentified child. I was the one that was like, okay, well, everything's a mess. Everybody's panicking. Everybody's stressed out. How do I help? How do I fix? How do I please? And that was my life. That was who I was. And so for the rest of my life up until, Spirit humbled me, it was like I found my worth in helping others, and I still will, it's how you channel it, which is the point. But I didn't realize that I was disrespecting myself at the same time, because the old programming was still in my head, even though I had moved past it. And that's one thing that I didn't realize, that I was harming myself, because it would be like, I'm like this because my parent did that. And I'm like this because my parent wasn't there for that. And I'm like this because, well, I'm not wrong, but am I going to harp on it, or am I going to reflect on the why, do some deep dive, cry if I need to cry, which your girl cried a lot, but heal and release all of that crap that has kept me held into this position of I am a victim. I can't control my own life. I am destined to work the machine. And listen, to those that can do the whole 9 to 5, we need y'all too. Like, no disrespect, but for me, that was not my path. And see, because we just recently got into a place where we could finally talk about mental health, because I remember back in my day, my Millennial show in here, that we couldn't talk about mental health without someone jumping down your throat like, oh, you need to be tough, suck it up. But you know what? There is no strength without vulnerability. There is no courage if you are trauma dumping on people. You're not strong if you're cruel to others. That's not being healthy. And we allow this in our society because we think that masculine energy is how you survive and thrive in this world, right? And anything else is weakness. So like feminine energy, or men that like to be in their feminine energy. They're more like metro. They always get attacked, which irritates the out of me, because like, we need y'all. If you are I won't go on that rant, but if you are more feminine and you're a male, I applaud you. But anyway, what I had to realize was that, again, I was the problem. I was making excuses that were no longer serving me. They were old paradigms. They were things that I was afraid of that I could easily walk away from and say no to. But I felt an obligation to things that were not my problem to begin with, because I knew that I wanted to help people, but some people don't want to be helped. And you have to realize that, and you have to realize that it's not your job to fix everybody. You can give them the seeds, but you can't force them to grow the garden. You know what I mean? And we have this, especially if you're an empath, if you were the giver, because that tends to be what happens when you're a parentified child. You look for ways to help others because either you figured it out or you're just better at giving the advice than actually taking it, right? And I got to a place in my ego death where I was like, all right, well, I'm blaming everybody but myself. And I'm giving all of this help to people, and it's sucking me dry to the point where I'm getting super angry, super irritated. I want to attack, not physically attack, but I want to attack, like I'm just miserable. And it's like, but that's on me, because no one, I mean, some people obviously ask for my help, of course, but I don't have to help people that don't want to be helped. You know what I mean? And if I have already repeated myself numerous times, like, it's not my job to fix other people. And that's something as an empath and someone who's in the spiritual field really needs to understand and just drive that shit home. It is not your job. You can tell people what you've done and hope that they try to follow along, but some people will just literally be there to trauma dump on you and then walk away and continue to do the same shit expecting different results. And what is the spirit, help me out, the definition of insanity is repeating the same cycle, whatever that is, and expecting different results. And I was doing that too, you know what I mean? So I was out here over helping, overextending to people who didn't really give a shit to change, and then I was angry at them. And it's like, well, all right, yeah, you have a right to an extent to be mad at them, because it's like, don't freaking ask me for help if you're not going to change. Like, that's annoying, honestly. Like, if you're one of those people, no offense, but if you're one of those people that consistently ask for help but you don't change, stop asking for help and go within, because it's rude, honestly. And on top of that, I had to learn all of this on my own. No one helped me in any of this. It's not like they have schooling for people of creatives. I mean, like, there are schools dedicated to, but you know what I mean, not spiritual creative or anything like that. So to think that I had ever had a chance to have been set up for success was just not possible. And so, you know, my parents, I'm still working through this. My parents did the best they could with what they had. They were very young. They lived in a very different type of environment. And that's not my environment. That's not my life. And I don't have to continue those cycles. And I was not correlating the two. And so I was having this real hard struggle with myself where I was like, I'm learning all of this stuff. I'm finally getting healthy. I'm getting healthy physically. I'm getting healthy mentally. I'm getting healthy spiritually. I'm more optimistic now. And here I am just trying to just give it to anyone that I know. And they're all just like, ah! And then my feelings get hurt. And then it's like, well, why am I doing this? And then you go into that spiral again, right? But it's like, the people that want to change will do the work, and the people that don't. You can give those seeds, but then let it go. It's not your job to fix everybody else. And this can be really hard, especially when it comes to family and friends, because it's like you feel like you have an obligation to them, right? Especially family, but you can only do so much. And again, chances are you're like me if you're watching my video. Who helped you? Because nobody helped me, and I did it all on my own. So if I'm overextending myself and they're not reciprocating, then who's to blame? You know what I mean? And the blame's on me, because if I keep getting mad at people when I'm giving the advice and they're not taking it, and I'm seeing that they refuse to take the advice, then it's ultimately on me. I'm hurting myself. I'm stabbing myself in the heart. But because I am love, and I believe in love and light and all of it, it broke my heart to not be able to help the people that I care about. And so it was a really hard decision to go, you know what, we have, especially in society, they really drill it into you, the societal norms of like, you have to be there for other people, especially family, especially relationships. But it's like, at what cost to yourself? Because if you're trying to lift everyone up, but you can barely breathe, then who's there for you? Because, and I had to have this like come to Jesus moment with myself. When I don't reach out to people, I don't hear from them. And if I do hear from them, it's either because they're trauma dumping or because they need advice that they ultimately will not take. And so I made it more about me in terms of being like another trigger. You know what I mean? Like, how dare you disrespect my time? How dare you disrespect me? And to a degree, yeah. But also, I'm in control of myself. So if we keep putting our control outside of ourselves and blaming other people, then how are we ever going to get better, right? If we're complaining about other people, like the ultimate irony in this that I didn't see before is like there's a specific person that's coming to mind, but I'm not because I get it now. I blame them, constantly blame them. I was like, how dare you do this to me? How dare you do that to me? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? And listen, I needed to get that out of my system because there was a lot of repressed anger and sadness and disappointment. Like, why? Why would you? I loved you. I was there for you. I did it the best that I could. But in reality, the blame is on me because I heard them loud and clear. They didn't want to change. They didn't want to grow. They didn't want to adapt. And it's not my job. We can't constantly think that we're the fixers of other people and then wonder why we're miserable when they don't change. We did the work on our own. They have to understand that themselves. And Spirit's popping in. You're also robbing them the ability of fixing their own lives because no one can take this moment away from me. No one can say that they healed me. No one can say that they had my back, they helped me, no one. There is not a single person that can say that they helped lead me to where I'm at today because it was all me, all on my own. And so if I can do it, everyone can do it. Like literally everyone can do it. I am like Spirit's showing me like the rose from the concrete, like the odds were stacked against me, bro. Like the odds were not in my favor. But I blamed everything else and I could not see how that was part of the issue. You have to, of course, release those energies as they come up because chances are you've probably suppressed a lot of crap because that's what our society forces us to do. And so we're angry all the time and we're like, I don't understand why I'm angry. And it's like, because the moment that happened, that triggering moment, you push that down so that you could be normal or not disrupt functioning patterns of whatever it is that you were in at the time. You were probably trying to be polite, trying to be the bigger person. And it's like, you need to learn a healthy medium where it's like, I'm not going to be toxic and I'm not going to attack you. I'm not going to call you names and blame you for everything, but I'm also not going to let you disrespect me. Because I'm in control of me, you're in control of you. I'll give you what I know, but it's up to you to do what you will with that information. And if you decide to do nothing, then that's not a me problem. And that was something that I could not come to terms with. And so I repressed it. I got really angry. I was like, how dare you? How dare you? Like that was literally me. It was just so much how dare you. But it was a lot of repressed anger because again, as someone who is a very sensitive individual. Because I talk to the dead, like I am a medium, 444 when I said that. This is who I am. And part of me was denying that part of myself because the world around us frowns upon anything that doesn't fit in a fucking box. Excuse my language, but it has to be said. It frowns upon what doesn't work for the system. And I do not work for the system. And being healthy mentally, physically, spiritually does not work for the system. And so we just automatically grow up into a lifestyle that more often than not is not going to benefit us. And we're going to have to unlearn some things and peel off some layers and realize first who hurt us. Then what do we do with that information? Then how do we heal that? By letting it out, letting it purge, crying, screaming, punching things if you need to, but don't harm anybody. And releasing it, which was the final piece. And listen, healing is a forever journey. But for this ego death dark night, this was the final piece, was realizing that I'm in control. 101 on my other clock. I'm in control. And so every time that I'm like, oh, I'm this way because of so-and-so. Okay, well, I feel that way, sure. So let's dive into that. Why do we feel that way? Okay, it's probably a limiting belief. Let's look into that limiting belief. Okay, that doesn't fit us. That doesn't fit who we want to be or who we're going to be. And so we need to release that. We need to let that go. We need to forgive for the sake of ourselves. And my God, I've heard that in so many videos, and I was like, I don't know about forgiveness necessarily, maybe neutrality, but in reality, it's because I was still so hurt. I was so hurt that I would just love people so much, and they just didn't have the capacity to give it back. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay that everybody's on different levels. It's okay that some people are still in a trauma state, and so they're super triggered, and so they attack and they lash out. But you have to understand that that's not personal, and that's what I wasn't getting. I was taking everything still personally because I was like, why don't you see me? Look at all of the work that I've done to myself. Look at how much I've changed, how much I've healed. I'm not the same person that I was a month ago, let alone a year ago, 3 years ago. Oh my God, forget it. But just because I'm changing doesn't mean everybody else is going to follow. And we need to get that through our heads so that it stops hurting when we inevitably realize that we can't do these things anymore because we've outgrown victim mentality. We've outgrown blaming others because it just doesn't serve us anymore. We don't want to be angry anymore. We don't want to be unhappy anymore. We don't want to live a life that feels like we're here to exist and work for the machine and rinse, wash, repeat. And so I had to be humbled. I turned off everything for like a good week plus. I mean, I was getting hit since the eclipse back in like April, but like it was intense. Like my spirit guides were like, screw you, we're doing this, get to work. Like, and it was humbling, but it gave me my own power back because I had never had it because I never knew that I could have it. Like I had heard about it and I watched the videos, but it didn't click for me yet because I still had other levels to reach. If I had seen it all at once, I probably would have hit some sort of psychosis. If I had just realized that everyone in my life, to some extent, some high, some low, everyone in my life practically disrespected me to some extent. If I had figured that out just in the blink of an eye, oh my God, the anger and sadness all at once, there's no way. And so it comes off in layers. Like I just keep seeing an onion. I just keep seeing like layer, layer, layer. And so we need to start to understand that if we want to take back control of our lives, we've got to realize that the only person that's controlling our lives is us. Everything else is meant to be something that's either supposed to help us, I'm hearing character development, so supposed to make us into who we're meant to be, you know, because like if I hadn't gone through, you know, the childhood that I had where I was so worried about my family and fearful, then I wouldn't have stepped up. I wouldn't have become so empathic and feeling the need to help others and inspire others and remind others that there is light and there is optimism and there is hope and that we can break free of these limiting beliefs and that we don't have to be held hostage to the past. I had to learn that by having the first part of my life kind of suck a little bit. And that's just, it is what it is, you know? And we need to reach this place where we go, it is what it is. And yeah, it sucked, but I'm going to look it dead in the eye and I'm going to go, yeah, that hurt. And I wish things had been different. I wish I had a healthier lifestyle. I wish this, but the shoulds and the coulds don't benefit you. They are the past and you can't change the past, but what can you do today? How can you change your life in this moment to better it? How do you bring it back to yourself? Because the moment you blame somebody else, you give your power away. The moment you complain about other people, you give your power away. You are focusing on everything outside of yourself because in reality, looking at yourself is too painful. And we have to get rid of this societal conformist bullshit of let's not look at our inner depth. Like, let's not look at the pain. Just let's push it away. Let's drink it away. Let's smoke it away. And I'm not shitting on nobody. I'm not. But when you're sitting here, and this is me calling me out, when you're sitting here and you're waking up at noon and all you're doing is watching crime shows and you're drinking tons of caffeine and you're smoking weed to get rid of the pain, and you're eating all these processed foods, and you're never moving your body, and you're never drinking water, and then you're wondering what's wrong with you. Like, did all this crap exist before society's capitalistic bullshit? No. And so we have gotten so far off track from who we're meant to be, and then we're wondering what's wrong with us by using our logic, which again, I've said in many videos, is the accumulation of all of your experiences, 1111, all of your experiences up until this moment. And it doesn't know anything past that. So of course you're going to fear change. Of course you're going to fear new. Of course you're going to fear anything that's not your little bubble. And so you have to get outside that bubble. You have to face what it is that you're afraid of. You have to admit to yourself, what is it that keeps me up at night? What is that thing that I don't want to look at because it hurts too much? And then you turn off all the noise and you dive right in. You dive into it. I'm going to leave it at this for those that have had like rough relationships, because, you know, I feel like societally speaking, all of us to some degree have had parents that just couldn't be what we needed. And that's not entirely their fault. There's so much more to that. But I want you to take a look at the relationships that you've had, whether it be love or just friends. And I want you to think about the dynamic. Was it all equal? Because chances are it wasn't, but you allowed it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, thank you, Spirit. Fool me once, shame on me. Or fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And that is the part that I was not getting, is that I was the problem. I was the one holding on and harping to things that I didn't need to hold on to anymore. I needed to cry it out. I needed to admit to myself, those things happened. I'm never going to get the apologies that I deserved. It is what it is. So let me give that to myself and let me take my power back so that I can be who I want to be, who I need to be, so that I can continue to grow and help others escape this box that we've all confined ourselves in, where we think that we're broken, where we think that there's something wrong with us. It's not necessarily that there's something wrong with us. It's that this society breeds us to be unhealthy, and it's up to us to see that by listening to our gut, our heart, our intuition over our brain, because our brain doesn't know it all. If you were running on just logic and ignoring your heart, ignoring your intuition, I promise you with every fiber of my being, you are going to continuously fail, hit roadblocks. You're going to be miserable. You're going to be miserable because the brightness at the end of the tunnel that you're looking for surpasses what you can understand. It surpasses anything that makes sense. Throw logic out the window. Follow your intuition. Eventually, they'll align. The dissonance won't be so strong anymore. You'll still have that kind of like, I don't know, but this will push you further. Keep going with that. If you feel the need to change your diet, but your head's like, but I really like, no. If you feel the need to humble yourself and start to get into your emotions, especially if you're a man, do that, because you deserve to heal too. It's so wild to me. Like, I just look back on the past like couple decades, to be honest with you, and I'm like, I never had a chance. And that's okay. That's okay, because I chose this life. I was meant to do this. It is what it is. But to be angry at other people is dumb, because it's the past and it's up to me. I'm in control of my life. And that's the part that I was missing. And that's the part that we need to get to. You control what you want out of this world. What do you want? Do you even ask yourself that, or are you too afraid? Are you too afraid to go, I don't want to dream. That's not realistic. Fuck realistic. My life has not been realistic the past 3 years based on society. I always do this at the wrong time. It's reminding me of this movie, but anyway, like I never get the quotes right. I'm so sorry. But when we continuously blame other people, we're right to an extent. We need to get that energy out, because chances are it's suppressed. But if we keep blaming other people, then we lose the power to take control of our own lives and be our true selves. So I know I went on a little bit of a rant, and I learned so much. So if you guys want a part 2, let me know down in the comments. If you made it through this, let me know down in the comments. But I would love to share with you guys everything that I've learned. I mean, I don't think I've ever known me to the degree that I know me today. And it's just so refreshing and rewarding to know that I did this. I did this. The odds were against me. Everybody told me I was crazy. Everybody told me my dreams weren't realistic. Everybody told me I can't do that. You have issues. You got this. Jealousy projected at me. Anger projected at me. Just toxicity projected at me. And again and again and again, I was like, no. You could, I'm hearing, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You know what I mean? You have to embrace that. What are you intaking on the daily? What is it that's making you unhappy? And be honest with yourself. Are you in a long-term relationship that you're like, well, we've been together for like a few years now, and I see the good, but are they changing? Are they growing? Are you outgrowing them? We need to stop following societal norms and constructs and start listening to what's happening in here, because that's where freedom lies. It's not in here. This is where you get stuck. This is where you get on that hamster wheel where you can't figure out left from right. And then you're all of a sudden full of anxiety. And then you need to reach for something to cope so that you can deal with life, so that you can deal with the pain. But in reality, if you just let yourself cry that shit out, realize what you've been tolerating, and realize that the only person in control of your life is you, then you have all the control in the world to change your life for the better. But that's up to you. It's not up to other people. Other people are simply mirrors showing you what it is that's holding you back. In the end, before this really rough ego death that just got me, I was still blaming other people so much. I was like, you did all this to me. Like, I see it now. Like, why won't you apologize? Why won't you take responsibility? Why won't you take accountability? Maybe it's not their lifetime to do that. Maybe in this lifetime, they're supposed to learn pain. Who knows? But that's not my responsibility. That's not my job. And it's up to me to make a life that I'm proud of and a life that I want. And that takes risk. That takes vulnerability. That takes courage. That takes stepping outside the box. That takes being yourself no matter how freaking uncomfortable it is. And once you can do that, the world's your oyster. It's hard. It's hard work. I'm not going to deny that. When I tell you that I have been humbled to the point of crying on my floor like a 5-year-old, 100% true. I have cried a lot over the past couple months. Totally true. But I also knew in my childhood that I couldn't cry because I had to worry about other people. And so I had to get all of that pent up, because we could bring science into this. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And where do you think all that anxiousness and that anger and that sadness goes if you aren't looking at it dead in the eye and saying, this hurts. How do I heal it? This is fucked up. How do I stop letting this happen? We have to realize we are in control of our lives. No matter how messed up the situation is, no matter how cruel other people are to you, they are mirrors of what it is you need to heal. Use that as a, that still hurts. Okay. All right. Thank you for teaching me that. Now I'm going to go inwards and realize where this is coming from, why, and treat yourself like a 7-year-old. Like, why? And eventually you'll get there. You'll figure out the why, and you won't have to worry anymore because you'll do the work. You'll clear it out, and you'll finally get to a place where you're like, you know what? I'm never going to get that apology. That guy's going to be a jerk for the rest of his life. He ain't never going to talk to me again. It is what it is. Or my parents did the best they could, but it wasn't the best, and it is what it is. They're never going to apologize. It's okay. It's okay. Validate yourself. If you validate yourself and your own emotions, then you are set free. But if you stifle yourself by continuously blaming those around you, complaining about other people so you don't have to go within, then there really isn't a question of why you're miserable. It's just, when are you going to lay your armor down and decide to do the work? Because no one else is going to do it for you. Therapy is wonderful and I highly recommend it, but it could only do so much. You know you better than anyone else on the planet. So what's holding you back from being your best self? Who is it that triggers you so bad, 444, that you won't even go there? You're like, that hurts. I can't. Go there. Hit that wound. Hit it yourself. Let those tears out. Let that anger out. Let that aggression out. And then let it go like a waterfall. Let it flow through you and let it go. And I promise you, at the end of it, you'll see the light again because you'll realize you were the light all along. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope this was helpful. Again, if you want a part 2, I've learned so much. Let me know down in the comments. But I love you guys so much. You are so capable. You are so valued, and you deserve so much more. So don't hold yourself back. Don't believe that this is as good as it gets. That's not true. It's as good as it gets if that's how you want it to be. And if you want to be miserable, then go ahead and be miserable. Your choice, your prerogative. But if you want to be happy, do the hard work. It'll be worth it in the end. I'll see you guys in my next video.